I certainly don't think we should be having big discussions about it. What are we doing? How can we move economic viability forward for our communities and our members? If all that energy went into something that I would consider more productive, I would imagine we'd be having a very different conversation here. So to me, it's like the black sinkhole of energy that goes into that is like, there's nothing like it in Canada. I don't really get it. And by the way, I should say that, I mean, Jean and I, the Canadian context is, here's one of the smallest credit unions, very locally focused in Canada and BC, and one of the largest. And our CEOs, Jean and Tamara, sit at tables together and do things. Like, the collaboration that can occur when you're mission aligned is powerful. So I don't want people thinking that Jean and I are both in these two huge credit union, like, there's a spectrum, is everyone in the credit union system in BC is between us on the spectrum, and yet most couldn't be having this conversation.
So you had this idea you're going to teach a class about Monopoly. Who did you talk to? What was the reaction?
Sometimes you just kind of do it, and it's always better to ask forgiveness than permission. Right? Don't tell your boss that.
But I think underlying is a bit of a concern I have that you need to build that on a platform of financial strength. In other words, you have to be doing well in order to be able to go the next step and do these things that William talks about at Van City. I think to a certain extent, when I listen to the Van City story, I can't help but think they do what they're able to do not because they're big and not because the board has the support about it, but because they have a well-defined community. And I look at a lot of credit unions who have grown or tried to grow by expanding their charter to a more community type focus without having really defined what that community is.
I was surprised and pleasantly surprised, so I say that in a good way. The other thing I noticed, a theme that I was kind of picking up was questioning things. So similar to what I just said, but questioning what I think I know and challenging me to see things from new perspectives.
If I identify with my financial institution, my bank, and I feel like they've screwed me over, I will go out of my way to make the case.
We do really strive to make our products as easy for moms as possible. Like, that's why I was so happy when remote deposit capture was invented. I'm like, now she doesn't have to come into a bank or the credit union to deposit her check. And we're working on something that helps the sandwich generation for those moms and dads who are taking care of their parents and their kids. And so, we really just think, like, the easier we can make somebody's life, the better it will be for them. And the more money we can save somebody, particularly working parents, the better it will be for them. So that's kind of where we put our focus.
We just did it. And then we found out, wow, there was a race to do this. But we had actually had e-deposit before this where you could scan your check and send it to us. So this was kind of an extension of what we had already been doing, but now we could do it through a phone.
Right. And after we built this real-time engine that was alerting people, we thought one day, well, wouldn't it be interesting if people could, after they've used their transaction, say they went to an ATM, took the cash out, if there was some sort of simple budgetary process where another message could come and say, you've used, $120 of your $300 cash budget this month. Because we felt, we understood PFM as a management product for individuals, but we didn't really see it working because we really didn't see, everybody doesn't gather around the dining room table at 9 o'clock their PC on Friday night and say, look dear, here's our budget, how much did we go over and how much didn't we? So we thought if we could possibly alert people about their financial well-being when they establish a budget, would that help them